So if you've decided to do EPQ and you're wondering, how do I get an A star? How do I get good grades? How do I smash it? This video is going to be perfect for you because I'm going to share with you how many tips? I think 10. 1, 2. I'm going to share with you 11 tips on how to smash EPQ and get an A star. I got 47 out of 50 on my EPQ, so I'm going to give you guys all the tips I have on how to smash EPQ. First and foremost, you absolutely need to choose a topic you enjoy and can talk about for ages and ages and ages and spend months researching about. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to your degree or your subject, although I would recommend that. It doesn't absolutely have to, but just choose a topic that you really like. Just as some examples, I know people who have done their EPQ on lucid dreams. Someone I know did theirs on like Rihanna and her like career and stuff, and then I know someone who's done theirs on like streetwear brands like Supreme and stuff like that. So make sure to pick a topic that has lots of information. When you're kind of planning your topic or planning like brainstorming ideas like what do I want to do it on, make sure you kind of make a note for which topics have lots of information, lots of resources, lots of articles that you can read about it, because yes, it's really important to pick a topic you're passionate about, but if you pick a topic that doesn't have any information online, you can't find any articles about it, that's just a terrible thing to pick because you'll struggle so much to write 5,000 words about it. Use things like Google Scholar and I think JSTOR. Use those to find out which topics have lots of information on them. This is going to save you so much time, but reference as you go along. So as part of your logbook, if you guys are watching this video, I'm sure you know what a logbook is, but it's pretty much that diary you keep over the course of your EPQ to just track your progress, see how things are going. Even if it's just dropping the links there, there's a website called Cite This For Me and it makes referencing so easy. You literally just plug in whatever it is and it does the reference for you, regardless of if it's Harvard, Vancouver or anything else. Reference as you go along. Honestly, it'll save you so much time rather than having to find those references that you've used over the month and have to like reference as you go along. It'll save you so much time. Decide if you're going to do your question as a title or as a hypothesis. With both a question and a hypothesis, you're going to be expected to explore. With a question, you don't want to just say yes and then like talk about the yes side of the argument. With both of them, you do kind of want to explore both sides or all the different viewpoints. For example, a question would be something like, how effective is medicinal cannabis at treating cancer? And then a hypothesis would be something like, to what extent is the portrayal of blank a true reflection? So just have a think about which one is best suited to your topic. Neither of them are better or worse, but do have a think about which one you want to go with, because that will maybe affect how you structure your essay. So if it is kind of a question, you'll probably go back and forth between yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and then conclude with your decision. But if it's a hypothesis, you'll probably just explore all the different points, all the different things that you could say about it. So when it comes to writing your essay, it's really difficult, I think, when you've got all this information, all these resources, to know where to start. So I recommend just starting the main bit of your EPQ first. Don't worry about the introduction or the conclusion. I think forget about that in the early stages. Like literally just write the main bit of it. So if you've got like 4 key topics that you're talking about, write those 4 ones first and then go back to your introduction, or just go back to it whenever you feel ready to. But yeah, when you first start, you might not feel ready to like write the introduction because it is a bit overwhelming. You also want to use reliable resources, places like, I know it sounds obvious, but places like The Sun, the Daily Mail. You don't want to use that. You really want to be using places from either Google Scholar or just Google itself. All of my references were like websites. Yeah, none of them were books or anything, and that's okay. You can use all websites like I did, but you just want to make sure that they're reliable. A good tip I have is whenever you are reading a journal or like an article and they've got references in them, it'll normally say something like 1 and like a little 1, and then at the bottom of the page it'll have 1 and then the link. Go to that website or go to those references and have a read of their stuff as well, because you'll probably get even more information out of those. So I kind of touched on this earlier, but give yourself deadlines. So if your tutor has said by the end of the month you want to start writing your essay, maybe set that for in 3 weeks time, not a month. You do want to give yourself deadlines because it means that you're on top of things, and worst case scenario, if you do fall behind, at least you're not behind the actual deadline. The deadlines you give yourself can really be like small. They can be things like, oh, I want to write my first 100 words by the end of the week. I recommend dedicating at least one of your breaks or free periods. I don't know what you guys call them at your college, but I had like free periods anyway, I recommend dedicating at least one of them each week to your EPQ. So I had one timetabled EPQ session, but I think it's good to have at least 2 each week. 1 hour a week on EPQ I don't feel like is quite enough. You'll definitely have to spend more than an hour a week on EPQ at times. I think maybe you should have a think about how much work you want to put into EPQ, what grade you want, and then decide like how much time do I want to dedicate to it each week, and then maybe allocate some of your free periods to EPQ, and then maybe some of the other ones to your other lessons or other subjects as well. In terms of your tutor, you really want to get in their good books. Definitely keep in touch with them over email, make sure you're back and forth with them, get them to read your logbook, get them to have a look at your references, ask them, does this look good? You know, what grade does this look like at the moment? I'm not quite sure how to structure things. I think they're going to be helping to mark your essay at the end of the day. It's going to be moderated obviously, and just make sure you're speaking to them because they can tell you if you're on the right track or not. In terms of the presentation, don't worry about this too much. It's honestly really short. Mine was only like 6 slides or something like that. And in the presentation, you'll just be talking about kind of what you based your EPQ on, like a quick overview, how you found the process of researching things, what were some of the struggles you had, what were some of the things that you learned along the way, skills you developed, and that's pretty much all you talk about. It doesn't have to be too long at all. It's usually to a really small group, so you don't have to do it to like a whole class or anything. I did mine to like 3 other girls, and they were just my people in my EPQ group, if that makes sense. So they were, you know, I'd spoken to them before, but I wasn't like best friends with them. You can do it to like your friends if you want to. You can just bring your friends along and do it with them, or you can just have it with random people. You could also have some small cue cards to kind of like jog your memory in terms of what you need to say and stuff, but don't write like masses of long writing on them just because it'll be difficult to keep track of. Try and have like a few pictures on the screen and then maybe like a few key points to kind of like jog your memory in terms of what you need to say. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be basing your EPQ on. I would love to know if you're doing medicine or dentistry or nursing or something like that and you need help with your EPQ. Feel free to DM me on Instagram or anything like that, or drop a comment. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. I hope you found these tips helpful. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye. When you're resources, so I think you're assessed on the validity of your resources. So resources, references, use reliable references. You can use all references. To what extent with the decide if you're going to do your title as a question or I recommend decide if you're going to use your title as you also want to use